or I don't. You know, it's never really a system. So I think that it all depends on what kind of piece it is. If it is a instrumental, you know, you can leave it up to one theme. You can leave it up to two themes or more. It's really no rule there. You know, you should just do what feels right. You know, it's very important. Let it be a natural thing.
So are you planning on coming up with a new pickup set in the future?
No.
Expand upon that.
I found the perfect ones. Seymour Duncan, YGM Fury. They have everything. That this is a single coil. This is Stratocaster. Listen to the sound. I don't know if you can hear it from there, but it's really fat sounding, you know, like, you know, that sound. And then, you know, in the front pickup, very melodic, you know, violin. It's just perfect. It's perfect output, perfect tonality, perfect harmonics. Everything's perfect. And, you know, I don't compromise on these things, except that I did for quite some time before, because of the hum. You don't want to have hum. So I used to use pickups that didn't hum, but they weren't perfect harmonically, you know. So, no, I really found the ones I love now.
Cool. How do you EQ your guitars in the studio?
The input EQ is from, it's called a Focusrite ISA 215, which is an old Rupert Neve one. It's not what you can buy now. And it goes through a compressor, like a 1176 compressor, and then goes into the Universal Audio thing. And then on the screen, on the plugins, I think I have another SSL and maybe one more compressor, you know, and a little reverb and a little bit delay, you know. But it's pretty plain. You know, and on the Marshall itself, everything is going to 11. You know.
You want to maybe talk about your tour a little bit?
Yes. Well, we have these gigs I told you about. There's 2 gigs in Florida, 3 gigs in Texas, coming up in July and August. But we're, you know, planning to do a really, really extensive tour in the fall or late summer, depending on, you know what. So we're definitely looking at that. We're looking at other territories too, but you know, there's no specifics at this time, you know, exact, except for these 7 things or 6.
Yeah, there's 6.
Yeah.
Do you have the dates? You wanna?
I can run them again. It's July 23rd for Lauderdale, Florida. July 24th, Clearwater, Florida. July 30, Dallas. July 31st, Houston. August 1st, San Antonio, Texas, all that. And then there's a clinic, which is me playing stuff, in New Bedford, Massachusetts, August 14th. So that's what we got so far, but you know, there's other things being worked on right now.
Does your volume knob have anything special?
Oh yeah, it's actually it's a YGM model too. It's made by Borns, and it's extremely fast. It goes very, very, you know, smooth and fast thing. Whereas like a standard one is much slower, you know, more stiff kind of thing. Because I do a lot like that, and you want to turn it on and off quick like that. So yeah, no, it's special too. That came when you buy the pickguard from Seymour Duncan with all these things, it will have the pod as well. Sweet. And it says I read that come Japan, and we're gonna come Japan as soon as possible too, and Portugal. And Sweden, and Indonesia, Brazil, and UK. Trust me, we wanna go everywhere. Yeah, I can't wait myself.
So we know you're a follower of Marshall amps, but what types of speakers have you used over the years?
It's funny because when I was a little kid, Marshall to me was like, is there any other amp? No, I didn't hardly even knew it was another amp, you know. And so, but they're very expensive. So at the time when I was really young, they came out with a new model called a Master Volume model. And therefore, all the Plexi 4-input ones became, nobody wanted them. So I got them for like 30, 40, 50 bucks. So I bought a lot of them. So those you couldn't turn down, you had to play them all the way up. And inside of the speakers that I had, I didn't even know what they were, but they were Celestion 30s, I believe, at the time. Now I use Celestion 75s for years because I like basically my tone to start clean, no, not high up, but pick up as a string, as a clean signal, and then get dirty from my Fender overdrive pedal, and the preamp and the power amp on the Marshall, and then out of the speaker cone, no coloration, no nothing. So just pushing it out, which is the 300 watt cabinet does. So that's my sound, I think, because we get very distinct note. It's not no fuzziness, you know.
So your new single has a very raw sound. What spurred that on?
I think basically the way I do things, like always, but maybe even more now. I utilize what's called individual expression, you know, which is I compose and I play something I'm very passionate about. And that's the freedom as an artist to have that. You know, it doesn't matter if you're a writer, like an author, a painter, or whatever. If you express exactly what you feel from it's within. The expression is from within. It needs to be undiluted, you know. And it can get diluted if you have a lot of distractions. And I approach the same thing with the sound, because if the distinction of the instruments, you know, the guitar has to be at the forefront, of course, but the distinction of the instruments have to be like so that they just function as like a bed, as something that goes with it. You know, like for instance, a concerto in the classical world has a solo instrument, and the orchestra is like a bed for it. So there really is no other soloist but the soloist. So it's a lot of ways that's how I approach it. This has very little keyboards. If there's actually no keyboard on this album, but there are keyboard sounds, you know, that I play with my guitar synth that's over there. And I use the Roland guitar synth pickup to trigger sounds from Contact and Omnisphere and stuff like that, which is solo violins, choirs and stuff like this. So I did the same thing again. But yeah.
Cool. How do you scallop your fretboards?
I don't anymore. I mean, I have them scalloped, obviously. If you can see that. This model is my Yngwie Malmsteen Fender Stratocaster, and it comes scalloped already. I scalloped them myself when I was a little kid because I saw it on an old lute, and I really liked how you can get a hold of the string. You know, you don't play differently. You just have a little more vibrato and stuff like that. It's more controlled. You know.
Do you think people confuse ego with confidence?
I do. I think that a lot of times people people that are passionate about what they do and more also confident in what they do. I think that they can be misconstrued as arrogant and so forth. But I don't. It can be. It can be. But in my particular case, I believe that no one is more critical. Actually, I don't know. Nobody's more critical about what I do than I am. Nobody. I'm the hardest critic on my own stuff. You wouldn't believe. I don't let anything slide. And if I meet that, and I meet that combined with honest expression and spontaneous expression, and like a true, pure kind of expression, I think that that's what makes me feel content with what I do. I think it's very nice to hear good things, of course, like everybody else, but that's not what I gauge my accomplishment from. My accomplishment is from how I meet my standards, which I put pretty high, you know. And when I do that, I feel content, you know, what I've done. Because, you know, if you try to please everybody, you turn out pleasing nobody, you know. So I have to just feel that that I met what I want to do, you know, which is the most difficult thing really, because I could just right now I could just start playing something that might sound okay, but it doesn't mean much to me because it's not really, you know, it wasn't sort of like from, I wouldn't say God maybe, but it was just from a spirit somewhere where it just flows into me, you know, because I have that gift, I guess, from somewhere where I can get something and harness it, but I can't just push a button and do it, because that's to me the most important thing, that the stuff is real and honest and pure. And of course there'll be people that don't like it, you know, but I can't do anything about that. The only thing I can do is to make what I think is the greatest thing.
Do you drink coffee?
I do. I like coffee. Absolutely.
Who's your inspiration for singing?
Oh, good question. I have my favorite singers, of course. I like singers like Phil Lynott and Dave Coverdale. Ronnie was amazing, of course. But I don't really have. So I don't get an inspiration. I just try to feel the melody and feel the lyric and express it, you know, so that it fits in, you know. Of course, I have a lot of favorite singers, but I like, you know, I don't know, a lot of great ones, a lot.
Let's see, that's what we got. You like your coffee with sugar?
One Splenda.
Is it really you who answers fans on Facebook?
Yes. If it says that it's me, it's me. I have also a team that looks after my stuff as well, but that, you know, I don't sit on it all the time, of course. But if it says it's me, yes, 100%.
How does the pandemic change the music industry and your songwriting?
I don't think it's. I think that as far as my songwriting and approaching, creating and making music, it's changed. The biggest change was when I got the studio, because I used to hate going to the recording studio and look at the clock and it's, you know, the clock's ticking, and it was it wasn't inspiring. But then also there used to be, in the back in the day, used to be a format. You know, you had radio format, you had MTV format, you had this and that, whatever. You know, I tried a little bit to follow some of those things. Obviously, I don't do that now. But the pandemic itself, no, I don't think it changed it. You know, no.
A lot of people wanting you to come to Brazil.
Yeah, well, that's, again, of course I'd love to come to Brazil. If you guys should do, if you like me to come over there, just email and call the local promoters and have them contact us.
Come to Russia.
Bach or Paganini, they're two different things. I think Bach was probably sort of like the godfather of all amazing composition, you know, and I borrow heavily from the things like that's very Bach, you know. But then Paganini did a lot of cool things, that solo violin, these kind of arpeggios and stuff, which is very on guitar things. But I really like doing that. But you know, you can't say one or the other. Vivaldi was actually a solo violin virtuoso as well, from the 18th century. So.
Maple and rosewood.
I actually don't mind either one, but for some reason I've been using maple lately. I don't know, lately, last 30 years or whatever, maybe more. It's really kind of the way it looks more than anything else, because, you know, I like the light look, you know, like this. But it doesn't matter to me. I can play rosewood or maple. That doesn't make a difference. especially when it's scalloped. Makes no difference at all.
You planning to do a new overdrive pedal?
Well, I'm really happy with this one, but if I have to, if I have opportunity, yeah, that's not impossible. Yeah. But again, same time, it would be exactly the same sound, because that's the perfect one.
New guitar picks. Wait, let me just talk about the pick you have now.
Okay, so this is a Dunlop 1.5 millimeter with my autograph on it, but it's printed in white. Yeah. If we would get this exact same pick in the store, it would be purple. But Dunlop has always been so cool to me. They make them white because I say I want them to show when I throw them up. And they're gonna put out a whole line now of custom made picks. I think one's gonna be Ferrari red, one's gonna be Ferrari yellow, and one's gonna be black. There might be another color too, but anyway, we're gonna have like limited run coming out. Should be anytime now. Look out for that. Dunlop, they rule.
It's so great what you're doing for the kids. The album cover is awesome. Thanks for doing this for the kids.
Absolutely. The artwork for the cover, it's going to be auctioned out, and the proceeds are going to go to April Way Children's Foundation, which looks out for orphan children or foster children, whether they have parents or not. They're kind of left on their own, and I couldn't imagine a worse fate, really. So whatever we can do for those kids, we should do, and influence them to actually do something with themselves, and especially to be a musician, believe in themselves, and that's the way to go. So yeah, look out for that.
R.
R?
Yeah, it's just the letter R.
R. Yeah, okay.
And it was followed by the letter N.
All right.
There are violinists who are performing covers of your compositions. Who's your favorite violinist?
Actually, I only heard one. Recently was there was like a band with a girl violinist playing my song, and I thought it sounded really cool. Because it almost sounded like it was written for the violin, which is kind of cool because that's how I approached it. So it was like full circle. I don't remember the name of the group, but they sounded really good. It was very cool.
I think they were more asking in general, like your favorite violinist.
Oh, my favorite violinist, Itzhak Perlman, for sure. Itzhak Perlman is my favorite living violinist. Yes.
What do you think about Hendrix? And there was actually an earlier question that was asking, what's your favorite Hendrix album?
The way I see this is like, if it wasn't for Jimi Hendrix, there wouldn't be. I think none of us would be here really, because what he just took the whole thing and turned it all on its head. A Stratocaster wasn't really meant to sound like that, and the Marshall wasn't meant to sound like that either. So what he did was just amazing. I remember seeing him on TV when I was a little kid. I didn't really hear the music, but I just saw the image of him smashing the guitar and all that stuff. It was amazing. So I think that he changed everything, and it was like a rocket ship going off, and everybody's like following it. It's amazing. I love everything.
Do you have like a particular favorite album? Favorite moment?
Axis Bold as Love, maybe. Or that live album from Band Gypsies. But they're all good. Everything's cool. Yeah.
What's the difference between the 1970 neck and the new one on your Strat?
Okay, good question. This, as you can see, it's got a bullet here. This is made like a 1972, 73 guitar, but it has a 4-bolt, and a skunk stripe. It was a one-piece maple. Now, in 1968 and 69, they made a maple neck, but like a rosewood neck, where the maple fretboard was glued on. It's also known as a maple cap. And it doesn't have a skunk on the back, because it has the truss rod light on the front, and no bullet here. That's my new 30th anniversary guitars are made like that, and which is really, really cool. They were very rare. I have a couple of ones here. They made them for a couple of years, and it's like a transition thing, you know. So that's the difference.
Do you like Yes?
I do, yeah, I do. But I especially like the Yes album with Trevor Abbott, the one. That was my favorite one, you know, because it was really different. I like that.
Who's your favorite painter?
I have a lot. Da Vinci was always my favorite as I grew up in Da Vinci, but I like Dali. Yeah, those are my favorite ones. You know, it's funny because when I was a little kid, I used to go to art school for a little bit, and I learned a lot about Cubism and Impressionism and all this stuff, and that wasn't my thing. I was more into the even like Rembrandt, you know, Da Vinci, of course, and but Dali was amazing because a surrealist. I really liked him. He was really cool.
Okay. Best Fender. Years 1960 or 70. Kind of a weirdly phrased question. 60s and 70s
well,
are different.
1960 was the second year with a rosewood neck and a small headstock. 1970 is the only year with a big headstock and a skunk stripe, which was a transition from the maple cap to the bullet thing. So you know, I think I have 170, but I don't think that guitar is specific in any way. I always like the ones with the big headstock because they look cool and they kind of sound good too, because of a lot of noise on these. So I would say 70. Yeah.
So what's the story behind the sign up there? It's reversed, so they can't read it.
It's so groovy I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a really funny story because in 1994 I was at the Fender Custom Shop, and it was very early when they just kind of started out, and I kept on saying it's so groovy I can't stand it. So somebody at that office just printed that out and said, here, take this, and I just took it and put it up there as a memento. It's from the Fender factory, because I kept seeing it as I was walking around the factory. It's so groovy I can't stand it. So it was something silly like that.
Are you ready to go back to shows?
Absolutely. We did one kind of show in Las Vegas, which was great, but I am really chomping at the bit. You know what I mean? Really am. All right, we'll take 2 more questions. Thanks for tuning in.
Let's see. What do you like about Ovation guitars?
Well, I like the fact that you can play them on stage without them feeding back. You know, when I first started using Ovations was in the early 80s, and then they used to be hollow. Or I think they made both then too, I'm not sure. But I had a hollow one, and as soon as you started playing it would feed back. Whereas they had made one called a Viper, they used for years, and now they made my model called the Malmsteen model, which is like a Viper, but it's slightly different design on it, you know. They sound, I use it in the studio too. On a new album I have a lot of acoustic stuff, and it's also the Ovation, so I really like those. Great necks too, not scalloped. Alright, one more question, then I'm gonna say see you later. What do you got?
Who are some of the most promising guitar players from the new generation nowadays, in your opinion? Do you feel inspired by any of them?
You know, it's so funny you should ask that question, because I would normally say no. But obviously my son is an amazing guitar player. He has the most natural vibrato and sense of melody and everything. It's like I never had to teach him anything. He does it all by himself. It's a natural thing. But besides that, I actually saw somebody online yesterday. It was a guy called Kingfish Ingram, I think. Blues guy. And this guy is so natural in his playing. It's just sick, you know. That was... I mean, I don't seek out I don't look for it. You know what I mean? So I shouldn't really say anything because I don't have a good overview on what's really going on. But when I see it, I know what I think, and that he's amazing. All right.
So you want to call it?
So that's that, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you soon at these shows. And there's more singles coming out soon, and albums out July 23rd. Parabellum. Thank you.